Ooh, we are live. We are live. I don't know why I always do that before live, but hello, 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 everyone. Hi, leaders. I am Christin Webb. I am your leadership enthusiast, your chief leadership enthusiast. And I want to tell you, welcome back to the Leadership Corner with Christin. If this is your first time, and it is likely that it is because we're only on episode 2, but I am so glad that you are here, that you chose to join me. This series is about real conversations for real leaders with real leaders. And so if you are looking for that, you are in the absolute right place. But in just 30 minutes every month, we simply take an opportunity to pause, to reflect, and to really pour back into the power of leadership. I don't know about you all, but I spend probably the majority of my day pouring into others. And anytime we can find an opportunity to be poured back into, we need to take a hold of it. And so there are many opportunities out there. And so this just adds an additional layer to the support you need. And so I created this series because leadership is about doing more. It really is about being more aware, being more aligned, and being more impactful in the spaces that we influence. And that is especially true when we talk about times of change. And I probably should like insert a Mufasa sound or some scary sound here because change is usually not wanted. We don't desire change in many instances. We want things to stay the way they are if we are moving the way we're comfortable, the way we are familiar with things. But today's topic is one thing that I am actually a little passionate about. And so I look forward to sharing with you as we talk about empowering leadership in times of change. We're going to do a power shift. We're going to do a mental shift today. Whatever you're thinking about leadership and change, I want you to just throw it out the window right now because by the end, I'm going to give you some tools and some hopefully new perspective or reinforced perspective so that you can move through change in a different way as a leader. Because here's the truth, change doesn't just affect your strategy, it tests your strength. It absolutely tests your strength. But when you embrace change as an invitation and not as a threat, then you can actually start leading differently. What if we imagine change being this invitation into growth, being this invitation into newness? What amazing mental shift that is that allows us to show up differently as leaders. And so I'm reminded of Sam Cooke because I love some good music. I love some good music. But Sam Cooke has a timeless anthem titled Change is Gonna Come. No, I'm not going to insert my singing here. But he sings in the lyrics. He goes with, "It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes, it will." So you can make that sound how you need to in your head. But those are the lyrics, and that line captures both the hope and the resilience that it takes to move forward, especially when the path is uncertain and change can be uncertain. So this conversation today is about claiming that shift, claiming that moment where we look at change as hope and resilience. And that we not only just claim that shift, but begin to stand in it and become stabilized or become a stabilizing force for us and for others in the process. So let's talk about what change really does for us. It stretches us for one. I think we should definitely start there. Change absolutely stretches us. We can feel pulled. We might want to go see a masseuse after change because, right, it moves us in ways that we may not be prepared for. Sometimes we are prepared, but it absolutely stretches us. It also shakes us up and it reveals us. When change happens, the way we respond tells a story clearly about where we are in our mental capacity, our physical capacity, our emotional state, all of those things. But it also reshapes the way we lead. So when things are in flux, teams look for our leaders for stability. We look at our leaders for clarity when there is flux, when there is change happening. We also look for our leaders to have courage. And this is why empowering leadership matters most when everything else feels uncertain. I want to share a quick story. When I was career into entrepreneurship, I thought I was prepared. I really did think I was prepared, y'all. What I didn't expect was how much my identity would be challenged. When I got ready to move into full-time entrepreneurship, I was like, let me make sure I have my budget established. Let me look at my assets. Let me have a business plan. Let me think about the resources and networks and the people around me that can be assistants. Let me start working on marketing. Like, I went in all of those technical ways, but the one thing that I never considered was truly how my identity would be challenged in this change. And I had to redefine who I was without the title. Not just like title of chief procurement, but whoever I was before I became this entrepreneur, there was a shift and a mental shift that I needed to have during that change. It wasn't just about the, but I did have to redefine myself. And that change taught me that my power didn't come from the roles that I held. It doesn't even come from the role that I hold now as the chief executive officer for my organization. But it does mean that I have to have clarity with me as I walk the path. So again, I want to make sure I say that it taught me that power doesn't come from the roles that you have. It actually comes from the clarity that we carry. So how much clarity do we have when we are going through change? And how do we use our power to support that? I want to introduce this simple but powerful model to guide you through leading in uncertain times. And I call it a power shift framework because we are literally going to shift our power. And this isn't a checklist, right? I'm not giving you another checklist. It's really just a mindset reset. It's a way of grounding yourself in the middle of the unfamiliar and learning how to move with power, even when the ground feels shaky. So the first thing I want you to think about is awareness. I am always going to start with self and everything because everything is rooted there, guys. Awareness is the first step in this power shift, this mental shift that we need to make when it comes to change and leading in it. I want you to recognize the change and be honest about how it is affecting you. Change brings emotion. We need to acknowledge it. We don't need to ignore it. We don't need to suppress it. This is about noticing, not about reacting. We want to recognize that something is shifting. When the change happens, we have to say, there is something shifting around me, but also within me. And that means giving yourself permission to feel the weight of that change. Life happens so quickly. The changes happen so quickly. And as we're leading, we're typically just thinking about how is it going to impact those that we influence? How is it going to impact the systems around me? How is it going to impact the processes and the policies? And how do I engage with all of it? But we rarely take the time to say, how does this change make me feel? And what is the weight of that feeling as I move through the change? Change is going to bring about emotions, even for strong leaders. I raise my hand. I may be one of those considered to be strong leaders, but my emotions absolutely do alter whenever I have change, or I need to be mindful of maybe my emotions being able to stay as stable as possible. But maybe it's fear, maybe it's fatigue, or even it's relief when we talk about that change, when we talk about the emotion. The goal isn't to fix your feelings. It's not to do that. The goal is to honor them because clarity comes after acknowledgement. We have to acknowledge that when the change happens, how do we feel about it? How are we ready to respond? Are we feeling like we want to shrink? Are we feeling like we can triumph over it? Is the change frustrating? Does the change feel like it's going to be rewarding? All of those things. So it's really being aware and naming the awareness that you have inside about yourself regarding the change. This power shift when it comes to leading during change has nothing or starts nowhere outside of it. It starts within you. So once you have that awareness, then we can start looking at it as adaptability. So adaptability is the second power shift when we're leading or empowering leadership during times of change. This is where you lead yourself first, right? Leadership starts with self. what minds what mindset shifts are needed? That's a tongue twister. What mindset shifts are needed during the time of change as you are leading yourself first? What support are you going to need? Ask yourself these questions so that you can be adaptable to the change. What old ways are you going to need to release as you navigate this change? And now that you've named it, you know how you're going to shift with it. Do you know how you're going to shift with it? Adaptability isn't just about adjusting your strategy, it's about adjusting your internal response. So ask yourself, what mindset am I clinging on to that no longer serves me? As I get ready to go through this change, Kristen. Am I still thinking about or using a mindset that I used from 6 months ago, a month ago, the last change that happened? Or does this change require a new mind shift, right? Does it serve me to continue to think in the same way? And if it does, great. But if it doesn't, what new tools or resources or voices do I need to let in? This is where we lead ourselves before we lead anyone else. But we only get to this moment of adaptability because we have gotten to the moment of awareness in the first spot. So we've got awareness, we've got adaptability, and now we're going to talk about activation. Activation. So activation comes after those two things, and we want to go with taking bold action and empowering others to do the same. Don't wait for perfection. Lead with clarity. The goal isn't control; it is momentum. How do we continue to move forward, even when there is doubt, uncertainty happening? Finally, this is where movement actually begins. When we are ready to look at the momentum and be activated, we're aware, we are adapting and realizing that and accepting that the change is occurring, and now we're ready to be activated. Activation means you stop waiting for perfect conditions and you start stepping forward with what you know and who you are. As I got ready to go through my entrepreneurial transition and that change, I stopped waiting for perfect conditions. I used to say, "Oh, I will go off on my own once this happens. Oh, once my daughter graduates, then I'll move into full-time entrepreneurship." But the truth is, we really need to start moving forward with what we know, um, and with who we are. So it's not about control again, it's about creating that momentum, whether that's communicating more clearly with your team, taking action on a new plan, or simply um, modeling calm through the chaos because you can become the catalyst. You are the catalyst to change, especially when we have others around us depending on us as we're continuing to influence. You can't empower others through change if you haven't led yourself through it. And so I gave you three key steps. You want to make sure that you lead yourself through the change first. And this framework is your invitation to do just that: awareness, adaptability, and activation. So I want to take a moment before we get ready to close out because these 30 minutes go by real quick. I want to take a moment so that we can pause and reflect. I want you to either journal, you can do it on your computer, you can do it on a piece of paper, whichever one is more comfortable for you. But I want you to journal this or drop your thoughts in the chat if you are watching live or the replay. Um, where in your life or work are you resisting change right now? Hmm, that's a tough one. But where in your life or work are you resisting change right now? What kind of leadership does this moment actually need from you? Those are two questions I want you to reflect on. Sometimes resistance isn't external. It is starting with us. And that's what this power shift is all about. It really is changing our mindset about change. It has nothing to do with the external. It has everything to do with how we choose to embrace the change. And naming it is the first step. It's the absolute first step towards owning your leadership through the change. So here are three practical tools that I want to give you to empower your leadership in the middle of change. Find yourself in the middle of change. What are the tools? What are the things that I can do, Kristen? I have happy awareness. I've tried to be adaptable, and I am ready now to be activated using these tools. So here we go. Reframe uncertainty as opportunity. Reframe the uncertainty as opportunity. Instead of saying this is hard, maybe try saying this is new. Maybe try saying this is new and I'm learning. A simple mindset shift can open up new solutions. So this is about shifting your narrative. When change shows up, our default response is often resistance. We fear the unknown or mourn what we're leaving behind. Familiarity is a comfortable space, even if it's not the most plausible space for us to be in, but it's familiar, so it becomes comfortable. You know what to expect. But what if you looked at uncertainty as the beginning of possibility, not the end of familiarity? What if instead of bracing yourself, you opened up to it? Leaders who thrive in uncertain times, they do not pretend to have all the answers. They lead with curiosity. Start asking, what can this change teach me? Because we should be having a growth mindset. So how can I grow? Because when we find lessons and find those lessons even in change, we grow. And here's another question. What strengths can I uncover through how much stronger am I going to be after this change? There's rewarding to that, right? This shift in perspective can unlock clarity, can unlock courage, and creative solutions that wouldn't exist without the shakeup. So that's the first tool is to reframe uncertainty as absolute opportunity for growth and for newness, for strength. Uh, gain those new skills, gain those new perspectives, show your team and those you influence new ways of doing things. And you simply can get that going from uncertainty to opportunity. All right. So the next thing I'm going to give you as a tool is to create a confident script. Yes, a script. I am a writer in my heart, and so I love a good script, but scripts are even applicable as we lead. So I want you to write out 2 or 3 sentences that you can use to center yourself and to center others when the pressure is high. For example, this moment is stretching us, but we are capable of we are capable and clear. Let me restate this sentence. You can actually say to those, this moment is stretching us, but we are capable and clear. So it's not dismissing the fact that your team may be experiencing the change and experiencing it in an uncomfortable and uncertain way, but it also reinforces and speaks to them that their ability to overcome it. They are absolutely capable and absolutely clear. So it's acknowledgement, but it's also activation. Which gets us back to again awareness, adaptability, and activation. So this moment is stretching us, but we are capable and clear. I gave you a free sentence to use the next time you've got to influence others to change. That's one script that you can use. A confidence script, it can be your go-to message in moments of uncertainty, overwhelm, or even tension. It helps to reframe the solution or the situation, and it grounds you in the mindset that you need to lead. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be personal and powerful. And you might create one for yourself, create one for your team, or even use them in meetings. That's when the questions usually come out in meetings. Someone wants to ask, how is this change going to impact us? Why are we doing this? Do we really have to go through this situation? Do you know how bad this is going to be? You'll have those scripts available so that you can help them to shift their minds as well. Now, think of it as an internal pep talk. It brings value and it brings the value back into your focus. Because we're going to say, what is the ultimate goal that we're looking at as we get ready to go through this change? How do we keep the end game in mind? Not the doubt, not the uncertainty, not the discomfort that may come from it, because it's all temporary. So how do we get through this temporary moment, keep our mindset on the end game, on the outcome that we look to have, and to make the outcomes as positive as possible? It requires a mental shift in our leadership, a mental shift in the way we engage and influence others. So, some other examples that you can use for your script. It could be, let me see, I don't have to know everything. I just need to show up with integrity. That could be a script for yourself. Or you could say, this team has what it takes, and my job is to bring the calm, not the chaos. Those are Then you got 3 scripts. I gave you 3 scripts to use. Crafting your confidence script ahead of time. It also means that you won't be scrambling for courage when pressure arises. So, like anything else, you want to be proactive and be prepared. So don't wait until the time comes. Don't wait until the change happens to then say, "Oh, what should I say in this moment?" No, go ahead and practice it. Go ahead and write it down. And I just gave you 3, but find what is unique to your own voice that still supports that outcome. Crafting the confidence script ahead of time is going to help you not scramble. We don't want to do that because it allows us to show up confident when we're not scrambling, and it builds trust with our teams. And it shows that you are already standing confidently. All right, so you got your confidence script, you have your mind shift from uncertainty to opportunity. And then lastly, set micro milestones. We do not celebrate, we do not take time to say, oh, we made it to this point. We're always looking at the end game. Oh, I haven't started that new process yet. Or I didn't go ahead and kick off the web show. I didn't meet whatever goal. But no, what about the goals in between? What about those milestones? Instead of waiting for the end of the change to happen, break the transition into 3 to 5 milestones that you can track. Then celebrate each one of them because progress builds belief. All right. So when we're facing big change, whether it's personally or organizationally, it's easy to feel stuck because the goal seems too far away. That's where micro milestones come. They help break the overwhelm into manageable, visible wins. Think of these like stepping stones across a river. Each gives you firmer footing and more confidence to keep going. I even like to think about the example of a marathon. When you run a marathon, there are pit stops, so to speak, along the way where people are handing you water, right? Those are your milestones. Those are the moments that you say, "Oh, I've made it this much further in the marathon. Oh, I only have these many more miles to go. I have achieved something." So those are just two examples to keep in mind. Each one gives you firmer footing and more confidence to keep going. You might set your micro milestones around specific behaviors. They could be things like scheduling your first team reset meeting, having value-centered conversation, or completing a reflection journal for a week. The point is not perfection. It's momentum. It is not perfection. And when you acknowledge and celebrate these mini wins that I'm asking you to do as your third tool, you will build confidence and resilience. These milestones also give your team something to anchor to, right? To hold on to when those moments of doubt start to creep in. Oh, but we made that milestone. We're closer to that first milestone. We're closer to that second. We're closer to that fourth. We're almost at the end. It gives your team, it even gives you something to anchor on to help you stay positive. So they create a shared rhythm of progress, which builds that belief again, and it's in the vision. All right, so that's what you got for your tools. I'm going to restate them again. It is having your uncertainty as opportunity, having your confidence script that you're going to create, and then setting micro milestones as you move to the finish. And again, these things are to help not just you, but also to help your team and to create this shared experience. So every month, I take a moment to highlight someone who's modeling strong leadership. And today I want to shout out Vincent Moody. He is probably not watching this. I don't know if he'll ever watch this. I don't know if he's a YouTube guy or not. But he was one of my managers that I had at a previous organization I worked for, and he was an amazing leader. Don't tell him I said it. But he was a great leader, and he was able to help me navigate change. It was a time in my life where I knew the change was coming, but I had no idea what those layers looked like. And he was definitely support to help me create different mental shifts that I needed to be able to navigate that change with power and confidence. And so I wanted to definitely shout him out. He had commitment to creating clarity and communication and care in what his leadership looked like in motion. And so thank you for that. Thank you for helping me navigate change. So shout out to Vincent Moody. He is our leadership shout out for the month of June here at the Leadership Corner with Kristen. If you know someone who is empowering others to change, nominate them for future leadership shout out. Make sure you go ahead and DM me, come up to my socials, shoot us an email, or drop your name in the chat as you watch this now or as the replay. Change is not just disruption, it's a legal invitation. Remember, it's not a threat, it's an invitation. It is asking you to step up, to speak out, and to serve from a place of power and not panic. Here's your challenge. This week, I want you to take one step that activates your leadership voice. Maybe it's initiating a hard conversation, maybe it's sharing an idea, or just becoming, or let me stop, or just being there to listen for someone else. Just being still enough to listen. So if today's episode sparks something in you, don't stop here. The Greater You Leadership, we offer workshops, coaching, and strategy sessions to help individuals and teams lead through change and beyond. You can find out more about us by visiting the website at www.greateruleadership.com, or you can also email us at info@greateruleadership.com so that you can learn more. Speaking of learning more, we have some amazing workshops, I think about 10 that are happening, or courses, I should say, happening over the summer, beginning July 8th and running until about mid-September. But these are courses to be able to refuel you, help you reset, refine your leadership skills, get to know more about who you are as a leader and as an individual, and gain new perspective and tools. So check it out. And if you want to sign up, you can sign up today. And no, you don't want to, no, not if you want to, you want to sign up today. And so you can register at the website and use this code LM25, LM25, so that you can get 50% off, half off of the price. Can't beat that. A great, feasible way to be able to also grow. And don't miss next month's Leadership Corner with Kristen. I won't tell you what we're talking about, but we're going to be back, so stay tuned. And until then, I want you to protect your power, lead with clarity, and remember that you were built for this.